Learning to unlearn is the new smart. And there's a handful of things you learned in school that you need to unlearn if you want to be successful in the real world. I know this may sound weird coming from a teacher, but I'm not your typical teacher. Here are 5 things you learned that you need to unlearn. The first lesson to unlearn is fear mistakes. Success in school comes from getting high marks on tests. And we don't get high marks on tests if we make mistakes, do we?
Nope.
Despite the common narrative that it's okay to make mistakes, we all know that mistakes in school are penalized, frowned upon, and associated with failure. Naturally, we learn to fear making mistakes. But being scared of making mistakes is the most common mistake. You see, growing up implies making tons of mistakes. It's how we learn and improve. It's how we understand what works and what doesn't work. In the real world, we need to get comfortable with making and handling mistakes. We take risks, we fail every now and then, and we learn from our mistakes. It's all part of the process. So unlearn that mistakes equal failure, and relearn that mistakes equal learning. The second lesson to unlearn is fit in. Schools try to put us into a box. We all learn the same things in the same way at the same time and pace. We are rewarded for pursuing paths according to somebody else's rules. We compare ourselves to others and we strive to be better rather than different. We learn to conform and we learn to fit in. But the real world rewards people who think and act independently, those who stand out from the norm. Successful people in the real world carve their own path. So unless you're looking for inspiration, don't follow somebody else's footsteps. Try coloring outside the lines for a change. The lesson to unlearn is strive to fit in. The lesson to relearn is break from the pack. Find what makes you different and create something legendary. The third lesson to unlearn is wait for instructions. In school, we have to wait for teachers to tell us what to learn and how to learn it. Here's what we're going to be doing today. Mary, what are you doing? I haven't said to start that part yet. Everyone, look at Sam. He's sitting quietly waiting for my instructions. Good job, Sam. We quickly learn that if we want to do well in school, we need to do exactly as we're told. We need to wait for instructions. We need to stay put and not get ahead of ourselves. We depend on someone telling us what to do all the time. Here's the thing, waiting for instructions doesn't play well in the real world. Nobody wants to hire people who need to be told what to do all the time. To succeed in the real world, we need to test ideas until we figure things out. The real world rewards those who are proactive and independent, those who can problem solve and have the initiative to figure things out. So the lesson to unlearn is wait for instructions. The lesson to relearn is figure things out. Try, fail, learn, refine. Repeat until you figure things out. The fourth lesson to unlearn is learn just in case. In school, we learn things just in case, from a fixed curriculum, hoping that it will include something that will later be useful. We learn long division just in case we ever don't have a phone with us. We memorize the periodic table just in case we ever need to recite it.
What?
We learn how to compare triangles just in case it comes in handy in the real world. Seriously? Let's be honest, we're never going to use some of the things we learn in school. Yet we learn them just in case. But just in case what? Knowledge decays extremely quickly, and research shows that we forget most of what we learned that we don't put to work after 14 days. And by put to work, I don't mean doing a homework worksheet or taking a test. I mean real-world applications. Learning all these things in school just in case is a big waste of time. In the real world, the learning process is driven by the demand for rather than the supply of knowledge. We learn, teach, and share knowledge when it best suits our needs, interests, and styles. We learn on demand. We're interested in something, we go learn about that. We have a need to learn something specific, we go ahead and do that. So unlearn that you need to learn just in case, and relearn that you need to learn on demand. The fifth lesson to unlearn is don't ask too many questions. In school, we learn not to challenge or question our teachers. To a certain extent, school wants us to conform to the status quo. We get used to accepting answers like, because I said so, or because that's how we do things here, or the worst one, because we've always done it this way. Well, maybe we shouldn't do it that way anymore. But of course we don't say that. Those who question or have a different opinion are the difficult ones. If we want to stay out of trouble, we can't really question things in school. But questioning things helps us develop opinions and come up with our own ideas. If we don't ask questions, we get stuck with the status quo. When we question things, we innovate. The real world rewards those who have a healthy sense of skepticism. Most of the greatest concepts, companies, and inventions come from people who do exactly that. Now, I'm not implying that kids should rebel against authority. All I'm saying is that they should be able to question things in a respectful, non-confrontational way. So the lesson to unlearn is don't ask too many questions. The lesson to relearn is question everything. As you can see, adulting requires a lot of unlearning. It's a matter of how well we do it and when do we start. What's something you've had to unlearn? Let me know in the comments below.